I feel in much better shape already, no doubt thanks to the brief rest I just had. The wounds all over my body have started to close, and the pain is beginning to fade. The thought of being slowly overwritten by Roa and having my body transform into a vampire is repulsive, but I can't deny it's coming in handy now.
はい、そうでした。こちらどうぞ。落とし物ですよ。大事なものなんでしょ?
It's the knife, right? Yeah. She's holding the knife I discarded earlier. It's a memento from my father. If I take those words at face value, then it's the only possession I have from my previous life.
そうですね。ありがとうございます。
I thank her for picking it up and pocket it again.
さて、あとは地上に戻るだけですか。今の遠野くんなら一人でも瓦礫を登っていけますよね。
Senpai starts looking for an easy path back up from out of the pit. I stand there feeling a sense of hope as I gaze at her back, when suddenly...
なんだこの音。
Those are church bells, aren't they? My ears pick up a sound coming from somewhere off in the distance. Uh-oh, Senpai looks startled. It seems Senpai can hear it as well. The unrelenting chiming of bells. This sound, it's... Oh, that's right. It's the sound of church bells. The peal of metal striking metal. It's a sound I've heard plenty of times before, but only ever on special occasions. So then, why can't I hear it now? It's not like today's Christmas or anything, so why... Uh-oh. Senpai pushes me out of the way. As soon as she does... A long, narrow weapon that looks like the paling of a wrought iron fence skewers Ciel Senpai like she's a specimen in a butterfly collection. I know who that is.
殺すどころか助けるとか意味わかんない。ルアに乗り移られた者同士、手を取り合って生きていこうってこと?
I hear a girl's voice echo across the sea of rubble. But there's nobody in sight, which means... Hello, Dead Apostle Noel, more colloquially known as Den. As I run over to Senpai, I turn and look up at the sky. There.
何それ? 美談のつもり? そんな身勝手、許されるはずないじゃない。
Stands the figure of a vampire, their body draped head to toe in sinister fuchsia. The girl alit upon the half-destroyed pillar like a fluttering butterfly. Her outward appearance is that of a 12-year-old girl. Her hair is the color of roses, and her eyes gleam a lustrous vermilion. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. She's a vampire. Even though I prefer not to know, now that I'm one of her kind, I'm capable of discerning how powerful a vampire she is. She is of rank 6, the rank of a true dead apostle, independent of its sire. A transcendental bloodsucker, capable of establishing their very own faction by spawning more of the dead to serve them.
あれ? 反応薄くない? タイミング測ったつもりなんだけど、渡したらまた外しちゃったのかな?
She cracks a joke while gazing down on us from her perch. She's so disingenuous that it's almost frightening. There may be a smile on her face, but she's watching us like a hawk, ready to swoop down at the first sight of weakness. Despite the carefree attitude, the bloodlust oozing out of every pore of her body is as thick and turbid as the contents of a gutter.
まあいっか。取り乱して悲鳴を上げてもらうのは後のお楽しみにすればいいんだし。それより今はこっちの話よね。ほら、早く殺してよ。ルアに汚染された魂は本人の意志が残っていようと例外なく消滅させる。そうでしょ、シエル先輩。
シエル先輩?
She addresses Senpai by name. Do they know each other somehow?
その姿、 使徒に身を委ねたのですね、ノエル。
ノエルって、ノエル先生。
The vampire delightedly shrugs off Senpai's words. It's hard to believe, but there's no doubt about it. Noelle has transformed into this little girl of a vampire.
そう、ノエル先生よしきくん。見違えた、見違えてくれた。あなたから見たらまるで別人みたいでしょ。でもそこの人にしてみれば驚くことでも何でもないわ。この顔は13年前のあの日の14歳の頃の私だもの。
Uh-oh. I hear shuffling noises coming from all directions, overlapping and growing louder as they draw nearer. It's the dead, and not just one or two of them either. There are well over 30 of them, spilling over the edges of the pit and crawling down like lizards. I ready my knife and prepare to attack. The dead that are converging on us are still fresh. In other words, they aren't Roa's victims. The one who robbed these people of their lives was Noelle. Damn, you look fucked. Senpai glares at Noelle, the iron paling still protruding from her body. Despite being skewered right through her chest, left arm, and right leg, her voice betrays no sign of damage inflicted on her. Her body will not perish unless Ro is annihilated. Perished with that body is a burning will to fight. Paired with that body is a burning will to fight, the flames of which have only been fanned higher by the appearance of the vampire before us, Noelle. Even though she was once Senpai's partner in exterminating vampires, she is now transformed into one herself, and has already spilled the blood of untold victims.
3日かけて50人近くの兵隊を作ったわ。初めは加減がわからなくて殺しちゃったり壊しちゃったりしたけど、今はこの通り一つの群れの先生役。なってみれば簡単よね、吸血鬼の生活なんて。軽く心をいじって抜け殻にしてあげれば、けなげで哀れな働きアリが一匹できるんだもの。しかもギフトのおまけ付き。人間一匹の血を吸うだけで力も寿命も伸びるなんて、チートすぎて笑っちゃうわ。
More and more of the dead keep showing up. It's only been a few minutes and we're already completely surrounded.
よくわかりました。経緯はどうあれ、あなたは吸血鬼になった。吸血鬼として生き延びるために私を殺しに来たのですね。
Senpai doesn't so much as flinch as she rips the iron paling out of her chest. She has that look in her eyes again, the same one I've seen time and time again at this point. The same one I've seen time and again at this point, the look of an executor who's on the verge of tears. The battle is about to begin. No, let's call it what it is. The extermination is about to begin. The difference in ability between Ciel Senpai and Noelle is night and day. Due to the scale of the curse enveloping her body, Noelle far surpasses an ordinary human. She's at least 10 times, if not 20 times stronger than she was before. But despite her newfound strength, she still can't measure up to Ciel Senpai's natural capabilities. Not to mention that Senpai has the 7th scripture, a weapon that specializes in exterminating vampires. Even though she's reached rank 6, even though she's become as monstrously powerful as any ignoble dead apostle can, if the two of them were to fight, it would be her loss.
まあそうなるわよね。あなたにとって吸血鬼は誰であれ殺すもの。そうでなくちゃ許されない。でもね、それなら私より先に殺すべき相手がいるんじゃないかしら。
Senpai stops in her tracks. If it comes down to a fight, Noelle will lose. She knows that better than anyone, and so she's trying to break Senpai's spirit before the battle can even begin.
私が吸血鬼かどうかなんて今は些細な問題でしょ。ねえシエル先輩、私たちよく語り合いましたよね。この命は復讐のために、ロアを殺すためなら何でもするって。だから見て、私はその誓いを守ったわ。あなたがやってくれないから私は自分からこうなった。一人じゃ何もできない私はロアを殺すために大嫌いな吸血鬼に生まれ変わるしかなかったのよ。私のせい。そう、全部あなたのせい。あなたがいつまでもふぬけてるからこうなった。ほら、次はあなたの番よ。早く殺して。そこの坊やをあなたの手で八つ裂きにしてみせて。
In an instant, the tables have turned. Senpai is frozen in place, and the fighting spirit she displayed earlier is nowhere to be seen. She's so shocked she can barely even breathe. Gasping for air, she stands there with her gaze split between Noelle and me.
そうできないの。やっぱり嘘だったのね。何もかも嘘。あの涙も懺悔も悔恨もみんな嘘っぱちだった。そんなあなたが私を殺す？恥知らずにも程があるわ。誰よりも薄汚い犬畜生。お前なんかあの時死んでいればよかった。生きていること自体許されるはずがないんだから。
Noelle's barrage of abuse is almost curse-like in fervor. I have absolutely no idea what happened between them, but I can't put up with any more of this vampire's ranting.
何好き勝手言わせてるんですか先輩。あいつは吸血鬼です。周りをよく見てください。
遠野くん。
I step in front of Senpai, putting myself between her and Noelle's gaze. Holding my knife in my right hand, I glare up at the enemy. I can't move my left hand properly yet, but I'm feeling stronger than ever before. It's really not something I should be boasting about, but she's not the only one here reaping the benefits of turning into a vampire.
あら、まだ四季くんが残ってるんだ。てっきりロアに飲まれたと思ったのに、けなげに頑張るのね。君には恨みはないし、できるだけ楽に殺してあげようと思っていたんだけど、気が変わったわ。そいつをかばっただけでイラッときちゃった。あなたにも生き地獄を味わってもらおうかしら。
You're pissed off, are you? Well, that makes two of us.
あんたが先輩をよく思っていなかったのも願いやしいことも知っていたけどさ。まさかここまで先輩を怖がってるとは思わなかったよ。
へえ、それどういう意味なのか教えてもらえる？
分かっていることをいちいち聞くな。戦うのが怖いからベラベラ喋って矛先を惑わしやがって。
Huh. Tell it to her like it is, Shiki.
大体あんたの目的は俺だろ。ロアを殺したいんなら俺を狙え。吸血鬼になり下がったあんたに先輩を責める資格はない。
I get why you're a zoner now.
吸血鬼になり下がった
Cause you're a bitch behind all that
責
frontin'.
める資格はない。
Suddenly I feel a chill run down my spine. Something about what I said was wrong. The vampire in the form of a little girl grins wholeheartedly as she stares at Senpai and me, enemies she wholeheartedly despises. She starts cackling like a demon, as though she'd been hoping for that very response.
ああ、そう。知らないんだ。四季くんはその女が何をしてきたのか知らないんだ。
Senpai looks up, still frozen in place. She's begging Noelle not to continue. Noelle looks down on her, relishing the expression on her face, and then...
なら直接見せてあげる。戦うのが怖いなんて笑わせるわ。だって戦う必要なんてないんだもの。人間を壊すことがどれほど造作もないことか、身をもって教えてあげる。さあ、私の目の中にいらしてくださる？
領域展開。
Whoa, Mystic Eyes? I don't know what just happened. I didn't look into her eyes. And she didn't, strictly speaking, attack me either. Those eyes of hers just suddenly bloomed. That alone was enough to snare my consciousness and turn my entire world on its head. She has mystic eyes, what the hell? All I can see is roses, roses and more roses. The cloying scent dominates my world. A seemingly infinite sea of red. And as I stand in the midst of it all, I can't help but feel like I'm a puny insect eating away at the garden of roses.
ようこそ歓迎いたしますわ。名も知れぬお客様。これは快楽と背徳の園。この地上に存在する魔眼の中で最も美しく、最も醜悪と謳われたロズィアンの原理結界。
Petals scatter on the whispering wind. The avalanche of red robs me of my sight. Their fragrance defiles my nostrils. I can't tell where anything begins or ends. All 5 of my senses are being ravaged by the witch's brew of this world.
訪れた者には快楽、囚われた者には背徳。遊覧不乱の継ぎはぎモザイク。一夜ばかりの幻も終わらぬものなら不死の毒。手に手を取って夢の狭間に参りましょう。
What is this? Is this like a reality marvel or some shit? Sensing danger, I try to run, but the red is so all-encompassing that I can't tell where I am, or even what I am. My limbs and consciousness are swallowed by the sea of roses. I become a character in a book where I can't even find my own name, and tumble at random into one of its pages. The church bells are ringing. As I wipe down the tables out front, I take a look around at the flurry of activity that's descended on the town. A large crowd has gathered outside our one and only church. Some magicians and puppeteers are holding a charity show over by the town square, and children from all over town have gathered to watch them. So yeah, did we go back in time? And I think we're gonna see like Ciel's massacre firsthand. Oh shit. It's 3 o'clock on the 24th of December, 2001, and the sky is clear. There's only a few hours left until Christmas. My home is a cafe that faces onto the town square, and I'm currently preparing to open for the day.
こんにちは。お店は準備中？
He strikes up a conversation, the same way he always does. Flustered, I spin around to face him. I feel like I'm walking on air. After shaking my head in an attempt to snap myself out of it, I bow to the gentleman and offer him a seat.
ああ、メニューはいらないよ。ちょっと寄っただけだから。
Speaking casually in fluent French, he takes a seat at his usual table looking out on the main street. It's been half a year since this Asian exchange student came to our town. He's polite but still easy to get along with, and often comes to play the piano at our cafe on his days off. Apparently, he came to France in order to study music, but rent in the city proved too expensive, so since he had some connections in this town, he ended up living here instead.
君は広場に遊びには行かないのかい？
No, please don't let me in with those kids. I'm not interested in that kind of stuff. Besides, I may not look it, but I'm already 14, you know.
そういう意味で言ったんじゃないんだけど。ごめん、謝るよ。お詫びに、はい。一日早いけどプレゼント。
He pulls out a small, neatly wrapped box from the paper bag in his hands. There's no doubt about it. That's the silver accessory I've had my eye on. It doubles as both a bell and a cross. It's much too mature an item of jewelry for a middle schooler like me.
親父さんにはいつもお世話になってるからね。こことアレル感がなかったら、僕はとっくに飢えて倒れている。お金はあっても料理ができないのは困りものだ。
Unable to bear looking at his gentle smile head on, I thank him while staring at the ground. I'm a bit of a late bloomer compared to my peers, and my social skills aren't really all that great either. This man is the only person I can talk to. It's partly due to the fact that, like all Asians, he has a bit of a baby face, but it's also because he feels kinder than anyone else in town.
でもアレル感はここのところ休みが多いよね。せっかくのクリスマスなのに街で一番のパティスリーが閉まっているなんてちょっとがっかりだな。
Hearing him say that ruins my mood a bit too. They branched out into gâteau cakes recently, which explains his confusion, but the shop at the end of the road, named Arlequin, is actually a long-established boulangerie bakery. Our cafe gets our pastries from them, and my father is friendly with the owner. I don't really go out to play that often, but I've still met the daughter of the family that runs Arlequin. She's just started middle school this year, and she's basically my polar opposite, a tall, lively girl with dark hair.
そういえばアレル感の娘さんも見かけないな。以前はよく焼きたてのパンをくれたものだけど。
To be completely honest, I kinda hate that girl. I mean, I always see her chatting away with him oh so happily on the main street, and like, she's somehow taller than me even though I'm older than her.
もっとも様子がおかしいのはアレル感だけじゃなくて街全体の話だけどね。ここのところ物騒な事件も頻発しているし、夜も静かすぎるだろ。よその町に親戚がいるのなら新年はそっちに行った方がいいと思う。こらそこ、うさんくさい顔しない。こういう時の僕の勘は当たるんだぞ。
After finishing his coffee, he says his farewells, waving to me as he rushes off. Since it's almost Christmas, he obviously headed for the church. Christmas begins at night and ends at night. People may call the 24th Christmas Eve, but it'd be more accurate to say that Christmas starts on the evening of the 24th and ends on the evening of the 25th. It's only after the sun has set that things really start to get hectic at the cafe. Feeling a little lonely, I stare at his retreating back and at the children playing in the town square. That is my final memory from back when my city was still alive. Damn. After I finish helping to set up shop for the evening, I hole myself up in my room. I have homework that needs to be done, and it isn't like I have any friends that would invite me to Christmas Mass anyway. People wouldn't really approve if I just skipped Mass, but I really don't feel like going, so I lied and told my dad I'm feeling under the weather. My room is on the second floor of the cafe, so I'm used to hearing the commotion from downstairs right up until midnight. Tonight is Christmas Eve, so it's bound to be even noisier than usual. In an attempt to distract myself from how alone I feel, I put on my headphones, drape a blanket over myself, and crawl into bed. I lie awake in the dark as the hours slowly slip by. I'm having trouble falling asleep, and I'm a little curious about the festivities going on outside. But most pressingly, I need the bathroom. I gingerly squirm my way out of the blankets and get out of bed. It's 7 o'clock in the evening. The night has only just begun. And yet, when I look out the window, I'm met with a perplexing sight. Even though the town square is brightly lit, the church has gone completely dark. I can hear long, loud screams that sound like nothing I've ever heard before coming from the main street. And below me, the lively hubbub of the cafe downstairs has died out completely. Still wearing my pajamas, I peer down the narrow hallway at the stairs that lead to the ground floor. I decide the first thing I should do is call out to my parents, but neither of them respond, and I can't hear the voices of any customers either. I tend to be pretty laid back about most things, so I don't really think anything of it. I mean, why would I be on guard in my own home? So I wander downstairs, completely unprepared, come around the corner into the cafe. And step into a nightmare of scattered human blood, flesh, and bones. I don't understand what I'm seeing at first, so I make the mistake of carefully surveying the entire cafe. Broken tables, broken chairs, scattered plates, scattered body parts, a cashier no longer needed, a father no longer present. The next thing I know, I can't even breathe properly anymore. It's as if my heart, something ostensibly able to operate independently of my thoughts, is being dragged along with my brain and has ruptured. I start vomiting before I even have the chance to scream. I curl up into a ball and vomit. I vomit over and over again, an entire lifetime supply of vomit. So much vomit that I almost choke and die on my own ejecta. By the time I'm done, my throat is burning so much I couldn't scream even if I wanted to. If I listen carefully, I can hear cries of joy coming from the town square. Hoping someone, anyone can explain what's happening, I rush out of the cafe. Whoa. The moment I step outside, I get my explanation. The burning town square, the piles of dead bodies, the familiar peal of the church bells. There are now only two types of people in the town: the pursuers and the pursued, the killers and the killed, those that had been human just moments ago, and those that are still human running away. I have no idea why any of this is happening. I don't know if I'll ever know. All I do understand is that while I'd been moping in bed, something had heralded at the end of the world, and I'm filled with grief at the thought that my parents have abandoned me because I alone had missed it. Perhaps thanks to the fact that I can't even scream anymore, I managed to get away from the main street without being noticed by the monsters. Right now, I want nothing more than to see my parents. It isn't safe here anymore, so I'm sure they're waiting for me outside of town. I figure that if I can get off the main street and onto the 2nd Avenue, I'll be able to make it to the highway down at the bottom of the hill. The town is surrounded by nothing but countryside for miles in all directions, so there's no chance of anyone coming to help. But I hold on to the hope that if I can just make it to the highway, everything will work out somehow. But when I look up, I spot a towering wall in the distance that wasn't there before. A set of castle walls over 10 meters tall have completely encircled the town. Gathered at their base is a large crowd of adults who are trying to escape. Their expressions are even more terrifying than the monsters in the town square. They're quarreling, cursing, and even killing each other. Come on, if we can't break it down, then someone should just climb up and lower a rope. An awfully rational shriek, especially considering our present situation. The adults stop quarreling and decide to start working together to climb the wall. Seeing that, I feel a wave of relief. I've been watching them from a distance because I was scared, but now that they're cooperating, it should be safe to approach. But the moment I'm about to step out of the shadows, someone roughly grabs my shoulder. Yet again, I'm glad I can't scream.
待って。今近づいちゃダメだ。
It's the man I admire, the Asian exchange student. He's panting heavily, and looks like he's just been through hell, and he pulls me back into the shadows. But why? If we join them, we might be able to get out of here together.
それはそうなんだけど。
He isn't able to give me a proper answer. He simply stares intently at the wall, his face pale. Even more adults have gathered in front of the wall at this point. All of them are fleeing the town. I can't even count them all. I'm honestly impressed there are even this many people living in my hometown. But their numbers are all they have going for them. If they stood on each other's shoulders, they could make it over the wall, but they're too busy squabbling about who gets to stand on top. And then I see something bizarre start sprouting up out of the ground. What the hell is that? Another wall? It's an enormously tall wall, black yet transparent. It's sprung up within the castle walls, encircling the town, and is almost as large. The adults who have noticed it scream in terror. They run over the wall that has been formed behind them and start pounding on it over and over again with their fists. But the wall doesn't break. Not only that, but I can hear a distinctive rumbling sound. Wait a minute. That wall. What is it about to do? What is it doing? It's gonna crush them. Yeah.
動くこの壁動くぞおいどうなってるんだ村長を呼べ下がれ押すなよ下がれクソどもおいこれ止まらないぞ止まらないぞ早くこれを上に上げろ上げてくれよ
Oh my god.
押すなつぶらつぶ橋はまずいもう隙間がない真ん中だ真ん中に逃げ手が挟まっておい助けるんだ
嘘
Bro. What the fuck? It's just like an enormous old-fashioned wine press. Over 100 adults are being slowly squeezed against each other, the surrounding walls bottling up their blood, careful not to let a single drop go to waste. What the fuck? The gang assembled? Who are these people? People? Creatures? Things? Demons? Vampires? Whoever. And what is that big-ass spider one? What the hell is that? High above on the castle walls, strange figures watch on and delight at the spectacle. Is that Vlav on the left? Because I saw the spear, and the figure looked kind of similar. He takes my hand and starts leading me back towards 2nd Avenue. I trail after him, head reeling from everything happening around me. Incidentally, I'm pretty sure that on the other side of that transparent wall, I'd caught a glimpse of my mother, who had noticed me and was begging for help. We see all sorts of things as we run. At one point, we witnessed an exhibition. Countless objets d'art had been erected all along the road that leads to the town square. At first glance, I thought they were human-sized cactuses, but on closer inspection, I realized they aren't cacti at all, but people. Their bodies are peppered by what looks like thorns, so no wonder I mistook them for cacti. On them bloomed deep red flowers, vampiric flowers, that use humans as their seedbeds, crimson roses, rogue mayland, that bloom in blood. Despite only the heads of the cacti people remaining human, they're still smiling in total bliss. It strikes me as a kinder fate to die like that than by being attacked and eaten by a corpse, or being beaten and shot by a neighbor after being mistaken for a corpse, or being squeezed into juice by the moving walls. At least, if I'm going to be killed anyway, I'd rather die like that, like I'm dreaming. At another point, we see a masquerade. There, enormously large bugs are squirming across the road. 6-legged insects, 8-legged spiders, many-legged quivering things. All of them are crying and screaming, begging in chorus to be turned back to normal. Even without looking closely, I can tell they're still human, but they've started to sprout strange new appendages all over their bodies. This is love. Love. Love at its purest. I am sad. Why can't you not understand my love? Love is something you give, something you nourish, something that makes you stronger. I want you to understand. I love you all so much that I cannot bear it. It doesn't sound like the voice of a living creature at all. The insect speaks like a robot, preaching its love to the beings who were once human. It's strolling through the air. It has spun giant webs that span from rooftop to rooftop. It has such a grotesque and spine-chilling form that just looking at it makes me want to curl up and die. The demons that appear in fairy tales seem cute in comparison. Its 8 enormously long legs shimmer as they move, almost as if they were fingers working the keys of a piano, a beautiful yet hectic tarantella. And those aren't the only things we see. We see streets that have been frozen solid. We see areas where the ground has been riddled with holes. We see flocks of beautiful doves that only attack those who had given up on thoughts of escape. Yeah, that is off. What the hell? Who are these other ones though? I assume all of these are dead apostles, in one way or another. I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. No, I've already lost my mind. I'm just so far gone that I've circled right back around to being sane. Having reached my limit long ago, I've lost the ability to do anything more than to be dragged along behind him as we run. And because he has me here to look after, he somehow managed to cling on to his sanity. That's what you're worried about right now? Okay. He stopped in his tracks and is now muttering to himself. I've already given up on thinking, so I can't even muster some half-hearted non-committal response. Having come to that conclusion, he runs into the church, dragging me along behind him. There are a lot of other people inside. My father is there too. The warmth of his embrace, coupled with the weight of my own guilty conscience, is enough to make me burst into tears, unable to hold back my overflowing emotions. The church is a safe haven. Over 50 people have gathered here, huddling together as they wait with bated breath for a dawn to come. They're certain that once the night is over, these freakish events will end with it, and we'll all go back to life as usual. However,
なんて嘆かわしい。
who's that?
街中の人間が殺到すると期待していたのに、集まったのはこれだけなんて。この時代は不信心者が多すぎる。
I hear footsteps coming from over by the altar. Her crimson eyes shine brightly even in the midst of the darkness. Whoa!
でも
You look familiar.
だからこそ歓迎しましょう。ここに集まったあなたたちこそ、生贄にふさわしい敬虔な信者ですから。
And why don't you have any clothes besides the cape? Weird. In that moment, we become nothing more than her playthings. There's a bang, and the entire floor of the church suddenly gives way, trapping us within an inescapable animal pen. There was a pool of blood beneath our feet. She says she wants to test out which method will best preserve our freshness. The first person to be chosen as a sacrifice is my classmate. She's folded in on herself, starting with her extremities. Coiling, 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 like a piece of calamari curling in on itself as it grills. Smushing, 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 her screams are wrung from her mouth together with her insides. One by one, Apparently stretching skin, paper thin, is fun. Seeing the second and third victims being turned into carpets and boxes while still breathing is enough to make me lightheaded. One by one, she's waiting for someone. All this is just her way of killing time until they arrive. It reminds me of something I used to do. Open up a fresh bag full of sweets, and then pop them in my mouth one by one as I laze around watching TV. It's at that moment that I realize she's doing the exact same thing. The church is a bag full of snacks, and we are no more than chips that happen to have names. One by one, the pool isn't exactly being filled up with the liquid, but the wrung out bodies of humans that have gone splat. Screaming, pleading, help me, help, help, help me. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Let's all work together now, and wear down this wall, this tall, tall wall. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Rip, rip, rip. Even if your nails fall off, squish, squish, squish. One by one, I can't remember his name no matter how hard I try, but the man who has been embracing me all this time has been chosen. I kick and scream, but it's no use. I get angry and try to defy her, but she just laughs in amusement and decides to kill him in the worst way she can imagine. No, don't kill him. That man. That man. My father. Don't kill him. Please, spare him. Stop. He's already small. As small as an apple. No, don't eat him. Don't. I'll save you for last. Please don't throw him away like a piece of garbage just because he tastes bad. Someone please, pick him up. I'm begging you. Please pick him up. Please pick up that clump of flesh before he gets trampled on. Ah! One by one, half of us are gone by this point, and the pool is halfway full, and everyone is banging their heads against the flesh-strewn floor, and they're all too afraid to even look at her, and they are all prostrating themselves with faces pressed against the blood and grime in a desperate attempt to appease her. And one by one, we are all, but in the end, their groveling means nothing. After all this time, somebody finally shouts that dawn isn't coming. One by one, we are all painstakingly yet indifferently blanked by her. She has been going at a pace of around 1 person an hour, so by this point, it must have been around 3 days since she began. When I look around, I see that there are still a few snacks remaining. We are all like crumbs left at the bottom of the bag, the last few that have slipped into the creases. Damn, this is kind of making me like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like, the way like the words are being said, like, it's kind of making me afraid to fucking eat snacks now, like with how they're describing this turn of events. Jesus. I suddenly hear a voice. He is still alive. He is missing a leg and an eye, though. Looking around, I realize that she is not here anymore. The wind must be blowing very hard because I can hear a weird howling sound coming from outside. That is the final ray of hope. He is gonna save me. Everyone here has already given up on getting out alive. We all just want to be eaten and be done, but his eyes are different compared to everyone else. I think that his kindness and his desire to help others are very human. Why is everything in lowercase? We pile them up. We pile up the thrown away suits of flesh. They stretch all the way up to the sides of the pool, like a stairway reaching into heaven. He pulls me by the hand. Even though it is far, I make it out of the pool. Everyone left is happy. I think that holding on to hope even in circumstances like these is one of our bad habits. He grabs a bench and uses it to destroy the staircase that everyone built together. Why? I understand. Even I would notice if all the snacks in the bag suddenly vanished, but not even she would if only 1 or 2 of them did. But why? He smashes the bench and takes part of it to use as a cane. He leads me by the hand to the door, toward what had been so familiar, toward the outside that we had wanted. Oh boy, dead are here. There are a lot of monsters outside. He pushes me from behind and shoves me in front of the monsters. He does it so that he can get away safely. I don't hold it against him. It's not like he is evil or anything. He just had a moment of weakness. Even the best people can change drastically when push comes to shove. Yeah, but I have to say, those words were a bit unnecessary. Oh lord. He screams as he's eaten alive. In the end, despite what's happening, I still can't scream because of my damaged throat. Since he was the first to call out, he was the one to be swarmed and devoured. Damn karma. I lie discarded in the town square, watching as he is reduced to bones while looking up, seeing with my own 2 eyes. The end of my now unrecognizable hometown. But that end wasn't something noteworthy. After all, the world has become all kinds of weird. An unspeakable upheaval is taking place. I understand everything. Even a young and broken girl like me has had her eyes open to the evolution. Ah, so my town was used for this ritual. The hell is that? However, it failed. Slain by the avatar in white, her body makes a splattering sound as it hits the ground right next to me. Even though I want to run, my body won't move. She's staring straight at me. I see myself reflected in her eyes, looking just like an abandoned doll. On this long, long night, I continue to watch over my pitiful, powerless self until I finally lose consciousness. So, I have a lot of questions. Yeah, and yeah. Okay, so let me just put the controller down for a second, and just gather my thoughts. So, future me, put in the random's fucking nervous ranting or whatever, and put that music in, cause holy shit, what the fuck did we just see there? So I think the person in that perspective, I'm pretty sure was Shiki, and it must have been something to do with Noel's little phantasm she just did there. Like, obviously we knew, like, that turn of events just from the dreams that we had, and, like, all that stuff. But, like, dude, it's still crazy. And seeing Ciel, like, that was very, very much Ciel. Like, once the Roa instincts, like, definitely, like, you know, took over her, right? Like, dude, and all the shit that went down in that town, like, seeing all those dead apostles on top of the wall, all the people being murdered, like, holy shit, like, it was just so crazy. And like, bro, the imagery, like, the words being said, like, good god, dude, like, that was insane, man. Like, holy shit, like, it kinda makes me wondering, like, was that just Shiki? Like, in that perspective, right? And who the fuck was the Asian exchange student that Karma, you know, fell upon? Dude, like, so much shit. Like, bro, I will say, like, even at this very point, I don't know how close we are to the end of this, but maybe around, let me think. It must have been like it must have been earlier on in this chapter, or in this route, that I definitely was more locked into what was going on compared to the arc route. And I feel like that moment there just kind of like, you know, blossomed that, like, more. Like, Dude, this shit is insane. Ciel is a crazy character, and I feel like there's a lot more we don't know about her. But, dude, I wonder if she can turn back to that fucking form, like with the cape, and for some reason had like no clothes below the fucking neck. like what was that? Was that just for that one moment, or could you like turn back to that? And, like, I don't know. Maybe that power is still lurking within her. Like something crazy. Dude, that's just so much has happened. So much has happened. And by the way, this is all in one recording. I'm literally like 5 hours into recording. So like everything back. Hold on, I'm gonna look really quickly. Like literally everything past so literally episode 23 and up. This is all one recording. I've been locked into this like so hard. 5 hours so far. And like literally Shiki getting those vampiric urges, attacking Kohaku, destroying his room, facing Ciel, like all this shit. This route is insane. This route is fucking nuts. Like, dude, I am beside myself right now. This is insane. And I could only imagine how more insane it gets like later on. Like I literally don't know like how close we are to the end. I would assume we're in like the end game part of it, because now we're finally facing Dan. But like, dude, I can only imagine where it goes from here. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Even as I'm buffeted by an intense nausea, I somehow manage to stay on my feet. My head is reeling, but I steady it with my left hand. The bones in my injured hand grate against each other as they move, and the pain snaps me back to being Tono Shiki.
出てきた。ただの人間のくせに、私の目の中から。
So what are those eyes exactly? Like mystic eyes of past perception or something? I don't know. Because he just warped us back to 2001. My stopped heart resumes its cardiac activities. Gasping, I fill my lungs with fresh oxygen. Just how long was I living someone else's life? Those weren't my memories, nor was it a dream. I was reliving her, Noelle's Noelle! That was her memories? Oh. That makes so much more sense. Oh my God. That makes so much more sense than what I thought. Because I thought like she transported Shiki into the life of like a bystander or something like that. Oh, that makes so much more sense. So Noelle and Ciel knew each other from the beginning, from the jump. Oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy, and now she's out for getting revenge. At this point, right? In reality, it must have only lasted a few minutes. But to me, it felt like I'd been in there for over 6 days, forced to experience Noelle's past through her own eyes.
おっと、そっか。ただの人間じゃなかったんだ。今じゃ四季君は半分吸血鬼。死ぬような目にあっても生き延びるんだっけ。ほんと。
It kind of reminds me of fucking Gojo's domain expansion, like filling your head with all that information that it kills. It would kill. It would kill a normal person, obviously, but it wouldn't kill like. I would assume it would. Yeah, it would also kill like people outside of human existence, right? Yeah. The person dwelling in the corner of my mind issues a retort to the voice in the sky. Yes, unquestionably. Had you possessed the real mystic eyes of roses, then you might have succeeded at that. However, this mere facsimile could do no more than irritate me.
でも、その人は耐えきれなかったみたい。そうよね。もう一度あの出来事を体験させてあげたんですもの。ロアに乗っ取られて心が死んで、心素に殺されて体も死んだ。一人一人の死に様も教えてあげた。今頃は記憶の中で一人ぼっち。二度と目覚めないのではないかしら。
シエル先輩
Ignoring Noelle, I call Senpai's name. But she won't wake up. I call her name, shake her by the shoulders, and slap her across the cheek. But she still refuses to wake up.
無駄よ。私の魔眼から自力で抜け出したのはあなただけ。そいつはもう目覚めないわ。だって心が死んでいるもの。見せつけられた罪に耐えきれず、自分から覚醒を拒否した大罪人。卑怯で下劣な肉人形なんだから。
先輩シエル先輩
Undaunted, I keep calling Senpai's name. I know for a fact that she isn't dead, because every time I call out to her, I can see her body react slightly. Ciel. Whenever she hears her own name, her shoulders tremble as though she's about to burst into tears.
諦めの悪い人ね。ああ、生きて出てこれたのもその往生際の悪さがあったから。でも無駄な努力よ。どうあってもあなたは助からない。命乞いを聞く耳もないし、逃がすのなんて絶対にない。あなたはここで夢の中のどんな死に方より痛くてひどくておかしい死に方で殺されるの。あ、でもその前にせっかくだから聞いておこっと。これってレアかつ一度きりの美味しい機会だし。ねえ、私の中はどうだった？濃密すぎて興奮した？
Be inside of me? I don't like the sound of that.
癖になるぐらい酩酊した？
Stop talking like that.
そいつがどのくらい最悪で私がどのくらい正しいか分かってくれた？心の底から謝って
How in the right I am is fucking insane. Jesus. The vampire smiles with delight. We're ringed in by a swarm of the dead. The woman I love is standing in front of me, trapped in a waking nightmare. I can't hold myself back any longer. I hear a click as the firing hammer buried in my brain falls. I can't afford to waste any time. It goes without saying that the situation is grim. I kill the vampires as quickly as possible, take Ciel Senpai and run. Fuck, okay. I feel like taking a lesson from what happened before we tried to run, and that didn't work out. Let's see if we can kill the vampire. Kill the vampire. Are you referring to Noelle or are you referring to the dead? That seems like kind of suicide, but I feel like shaking Ciel Senpai and running would be an even quicker death. Fuck it, let's see. I kill her as quickly as I possibly can. I take off my glasses and begin sprinting. If that nightmare I experienced is one of Noelle's abilities, then killing her should be enough to break Senpai out of it. I don't want Senpai to have to relive something like that. I'm going to shut that vampire up right here and now.
来た来た。四季君ったら我慢が効かないんだ。これだから若い子はちょろいっていうか。考えてること丸分かりで嬉しくなっちゃうくらい哀れよね。
As I sprint toward her, the dead close in on me from both sides. Noelle is practically salivating as she watches me charge at her, goaded on by her provocation.
あ、ごめん。今は私の方が若いんだった。四季君が哀れなのは若いからじゃなくて、そんな女に騙される頭。
Cut him up. There you go. At this point, 5 of the dead don't even register as an obstacle. And that's not because I've become a half-vampire. It's because compared to fighting Ciel Senpai earlier, the dead may as well be nothing more than unfeeling fleshy obstacles.
どういうことよ。今のよりすぐりなのよ。
Realizing that I'm getting close, Noelle immediately leaps back. She's a bitch! She retreated 10 meters in the blink of an eye. No problem. As I am right now, it'll only take me another 4 seconds to slice that head off her shoulders. She fires a barrage of the same metal spears she used to skewer Ciel-senpai. They're traveling in a straight line, so I dodged them easily. Only 3 seconds left until my knife reaches her. In my field of view, widened by my transformation, I can see the real target of Noelle's metal spears. She was aiming at the motionless, kneeling figure of Ciel-senpai. Oh shit. I don't even hesitate. I completely ignore what's happening back there. I figured she might try and use the Executor against me like that. Despite that, I still decided to kill her as quickly as possible. 2 seconds. My destroyed left arm is starting to get on my nerves. It's throwing me off balance as I run. I'm already 0.3 seconds behind schedule. Still, at this point, even that's within the margin of error. Just one more step and I'll be able to. Sawarudo? What happened? Even I can't understand why I reacted the way I did. One of the dead is standing behind Noelle. Next to it is a 16-year-old girl. Her face is twisted with fear. Her neck has been pierced by vampires. The spears were thrown so straight that I could see them coming a mile away, and yet I didn't even manage to react, let alone dodge, before they rammed me through. My gaze is forcefully brought down a notch. How humiliating. My knees gave out right in front of the vampire that I swore to kill, making it appear as though I'm kneeling before her. Well, shit. For an instant, a mere instant, my attention had been ripped away from the vampire, as if it had been nothing more than a cheap sticker. I can't believe that such a single-minded dedication to a task could be peeled off like it was nothing.
あと一歩だったのに残念。でも内容自体は100点満点だったわ。今のは四季君のミスじゃないから減点はしないであげる。
Jesus. Humming, she places her hand on the spear and rips it out. The spear catches at my flesh and veins as it's torn out, causing a waterfall of red blood to spew from my chest.
ねえ、不思議だった？どうして手が止まったのか全然わからないでしょ。
Whoever said that vampires don't feel pain was lying through their teeth. I can feel it far more intensely than I ever did as a human.
ごめんね。あなたが私の記憶を見ていたとき、私もあなたの記憶を見せてもらっちゃった。
You can do that?
四季君本人も忘れている。とっても楽しい子供時代の大切な思い出をね。
I feel a searing pain tear through me with each spear she yanks out. But that's okay. I'll recover from that in no time. The real problem here is blood loss. The more blood I lose, the less and less human I become.
それを見てわかったの。君は今の光景を無視できない。もうどうしようもないほど手遅れで救いがなくてかわいそうな生き物だってことがね。
She pulls out the final spear. I don't have enough blood. There isn't much I can do at this point. I'm still clutching the knife in my hand. 20 centimeters. If she lowers her head just 20 centimeters, I can still...
趣味が悪いぜ。 すならさっさと殺せよ。
I look up at Noelle and attempt to provoke her. This is about all I can manage right now. I won't look at anything else. I won't pay attention to anything unnecessary. I've only got one final swing left in me. I'll focus all of it on her.
私の趣味が悪い？そうね。ここからが本番だもの。身も心もめちゃくちゃに犯してあげる。
Oh god, you're awful. Cackling, the vampire stoops down to savor the expression of her vanquished foe. Her triumphant smile comes within reach. 0 seconds. Her head plummets straight down and hits the ground with a thud. Bitch. That's what you get. Almost like a ripe persimmon falling off a tree. I was lucky my opponent was Noelle. My consciousness is beginning to fade from the blood loss. Still clutching my knife, I sink into the darkness. Hey, at least you killed her. Shit. My gasp of surprise echoes in the dark. What's going on? Why haven't I fainted? I'm still conscious even after using up the last of my strength. No, I'm not just conscious. I'm brimming with energy. I take stock of my body. There are some marks where I was skewered by the metal spears, but the wounds themselves have already closed completely.
まさか
Did Roa protect my body? His host? I can't think of any other explanation. In a sense, he and I are one in a body and soul. Did he save me from the brink of death in order to protect himself?
でもそれなら
But if that's what happened... If that's what happened, then... Are we good? Then it all makes sense. I'm not completely out of the woods yet, but at least I've weathered the worst of it.
Noelle!
Hearing Noelle's voice coming from somewhere, I immediately go on the defensive. But I don't see her anywhere. I can't feel her presence either. No, first things first. Why is this place so dark?
ロアのおかげかとか、おかしい。あんなやつ、私が許すわけないじゃない。ここにいるのはあなただけよ、シキ君。
どこにいるノエル
Unnerved, I raise my voice.
どこってまだわからない？もう仕方ないな。はい、特別サービスね。
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Suddenly the field of rubble from earlier spreads out before me. I can see the swarm of the dead, the skewered figure of Ciel-senpai, and my own collapsed figure kneeling on the ground. Only a few seconds had passed since I severed Noelle's head. Wait, hold on. Something's off. What I'm seeing isn't right. Are we inside her body?
なんだこれなんだこれ
Are you fucking kidding me? There's no fucking way, right? I start running over to Senpai. Nothing changes. Everything in sight stays right where it is. Instead, I slammed headfirst into something. There's a transparent wall in front of me. A wall that cannot be destroyed or circumvented. A wall that may as well be the edge of the world. I brandish my right hand, but my knife is gone. In fact, the lines of death are gone too. The scar on my chest is gone. Headaches gone. Anemia gone. Even the repulsive vampiric urge I felt from Roa is completely gone. Huh?
夢だ
これは夢だ。でも
All my senses are telling me I'm awake. I know for a fact that this is reality. It's the same thing I got a sickening taste of only a few minutes ago. The world within the mystic eyes of dead Apostle Noel. Which means I'm...
私の当の四季君
There's no way. There's no way. How?
あなたのトラウマいただいちゃった
Her voice reverberates through the darkness. No wonder I couldn't see or sense her. My mind has been separated from my body and is being held captive by her.
あなたの方から私を熱心に見てくれたでしょ。そのおかげでもう一度あなたをバラの魔眼に移し込めたの。
Easy, just, just take off. I mean, your glasses are already off. You just cross your finger on her eyelid and then bam, you're out, right? That's how it works?
私の記憶だったけど、今度は魔眼そのものに中身をズキュー隠して四季君の精神はこっち側に。外に残された肉体には言うまでもなく。
That is the door now, alright?
No.
The wounded body of Tonoshiki slowly staggers to its feet. With a smirk on its face, it begins to stumble towards Ciel-senpai, walking with the same shambling gait as one of the dead. Oh, bro took full control of it, didn't he?
当然四季君がこっちにいるんだから、
Yeah.
こっちにいるのはロアだけよね。
Oh god. Tonoshiki continues to walk. He's walking away without me. And in front of him is the motionless figure of Senpai.
やめろ。やめろ。ダメだ先輩。逃げて。
I hammer at the surface of her eyeballs. But the wall before me doesn't budge. It doesn't even make any noise as I beat my fist against it.
見て見て、ほらちゃんと見て。あの女は四季君の手で八つ咲きにされてロアに全てを奪われるの。どうなかなかのオチじゃない？
Her sickly sweet laugh makes me want to plug my ears.
うるさい。黙ってろ。出せ。出せ。畜生。出せ。
The dissection begins right before my eyes. His knife cuts through Senpai's flesh smoothly. Carefully, slowly, as if he's relishing in the anguish of his prey. Oh god.
出せ。出せよ。出して。お願いします。出してください。ノエル先生。
Even as a disembodied mind, I guess I can still be hurt. The arm I was using to bang on the wall has snapped at the wrist. Even so, I can't stop myself from pounding it against the wall. All I can do is beg her to stop the slaughter unfolding before my eyes.
たまんない。これが吸血鬼の楽しみ。魂を凌辱するってこういうことなんだ。
Her voice is dripping with ecstasy. No matter how much I beg, no matter what I offer her in return, this vampire will never grant my wish. That much was made clear to me in that hellish nightmare I witnessed. I just don't even know anymore, man. I just don't even know anymore. Man, what? Huh? Overwhelmed by my own helplessness, I break down in tears. There isn't a single thing I can do.
いいえ、そんなに自分を下げちゃダメよ。だって私に飼われている限りできること、やるべきことはたくさんあるんだから。あなたには自分のトラウマを見せてあげる。
Want some gold experience? What
同
kind
じ
of
展
shit?
開なんてさせないから。 犠牲者が1人だったら次は2人に、指を1本失うなら次は2本に。思い出すだけで心が削られる思い出を少しずつ少しずつより悲惨なものに変えていって、ひとかけらの救いもない思い出になったらそれが本物なんだってあなたの過去に組み込むの。それでもまだ心が壊れなかったら、その時はもっとひどい地獄を用意してあげる。楽しみね、私の愉快な暇つぶしさ。
Down comes the curtain of billowing roses. The man formerly known as Shiki is imprisoned within a theater with no exit. Bro, that whole thing was a bad ending? Bro, that's probably the worst bad ending ever. Like, holy shit. What? And how long it was, too. Oh my god, yeah. If there's a bad ending worse than that, dude. Like, not even just what happened to Shiki. Like, what happened to Ciel? Like, Shiki being fucking trapped in that hell forever. And fucking Ciel, like getting murdered by fucking Shiki. Like, not even Shiki himself, it was Roa taking over his body because, you know, Shiki himself isn't there anymore. Like, what the fuck? That's... I don't think there can be a worse ending than that. A worse bad ending than that. Cause what the fuck? Dude. Bro, I'm telling you, this Teach Me Ciel Sensei better be fucking hilarious. I better die laughing after this shit, cause what the fuck was that? Dude. Off of one decision, too. One decision. All that. Goodness gracious.
死んではいないも
Hey,
の
Ciel.
が死より辛い結末を迎えてしまった。
Yeah, no shit.
そんな瞳の中の遠野くんに一声かける Q&A コーナー。教えて、シエル先生への時間です。すっげー、元シスターのはっちゃけぶりがすっげー。やっぱうっせきゲージがカンストしていたサブヒロインの爆発力は目を見張るものがある。追い込み方がどうに入ってるんだよにゃ。プロの仕事つうか。えげつない、ひたすらにえげつない。そこんところどう思うシエル？なぜ私に意見を求めるんです？今回の原因は直前の選択肢ですね。戦うという発想は良かったのですが、状況が最悪でした。
Really?
使徒になってもノエルは臆病なので、その人間の一番重いところを利用することを避けていました。でもスイッチの入ってしまった遠野くんの非人間性がノエルに最後の一線を越えさせた。こいつここまでイカれてるなら私もやっちゃっていいじゃん。結果使徒ノエルは対等の士気の切り札を切ったのです。なるほどな。ライバルのショップが9割引きするならうちも9割引きするしかないじゃんみたいな。まあその先に待つのは破滅にゃんだけど、にゃははは。でメガネ君を仕留めた方法はノエル本人の起点としてだ。その後の非淑女的悪魔行為に関してコメントはないのかにゃ、シエル君。ここにある資料によると、あいつは殺すのも殺されるのにも慣れている。私のやり方は大体あいつの真似。今回の加害者であるノエル嬢はそう供述しているようですが。それでは今回はこの辺で。いつも通りクリーンでオープンな教えてシール先生でした。
Really?
笑顔で済ませやがった
Okay. Well, at least we know now, right? Jesus Christ.
Many unbearable hours later.
Let's do. It's clear how bad the situation is. Any normal person surrounded by the dead like this wouldn't stand a chance of escaping with their life. If I went up against them alone, they would simply grab my limbs and devour me before I could even deal with the first few. Except, I'm not a normal person anymore. Even though I haven't drunk any blood yet, my body is already halfway through transforming into something else altogether. My right hand is clutching my knife. My left hand hurts like hell, but I grip my teeth and ignore it. With my left arm wrapped around Ciel-senpai, I muster all my strength and leap clean over the encircling dead. After a quick run-up, I kick off and cover over 10 meters in a single bound. I hit the ground at speed, my ankles bearing the brunt of the impact. I wasn't able to brace for landing because I was carrying Senpai, but it doesn't seem like I've done any serious damage to my ligaments. So this is the power of a vampire's body. If I only had to deal with the dead, then I'd be able to get away easily, but... I steal a glance over my shoulder. The vampire in Fuchsia is smiling in satisfaction. Her sadism is on full display, as if she'd been eagerly anticipating this hunt.
走るぞ先輩
Adjusting my grip on Senpai, I start sprinting across the rubble. Yeah, I figured you would try to, hit him from afar. That's kind of where my logic was. The second I kick off the ground, a weapon grazes my thigh.
楽しい狩りの始まりねああ本当夢みたいずっとこうしたかったずっとこの時を待ち続けたの最高ありがとうって言ってあげる期待通りの反応で嬉しいわお人よしの人殺しさん
Her bell-born voice rings in my ears. That phenomenon is a product of two things. The bells ringing throughout the entirety of the pit, together with a directed sound wave aimed squarely at you. She is most likely using the echoes of the bells as a sonar to map the terrain. When dead apostles reach rank 6, they gain their own superpower. Her seems to have something to do with sound.
知ったことかバカ
I get that it's a vital piece of information that'll help ensure our survival, but that guy needs to shut the fuck up for a second. I don't have the time to sit around listening to his musings right now. I shake off the presence behind me and continue rushing. As I run, I start to tremble with anger. Despite everything, there's only one thing on my mind right now. I didn't know about what happened 13 years ago. About that tragedy that no human could have prevented. And despite knowing nothing, I shamelessly declared that I would defeat Roa. It's only natural that Executor Noelle would despise me from the bottom of her heart. That's right. I sympathize with her. I can't blame her at all for swearing to take revenge. She bears the grudges of every single person who was killed back then. As the sole human survivor of that tragedy, she has every right to take revenge on Roa.
ほら急がないと焼き鳥串みたいになっちゃうぞまずは足からそうしたらお腹を刺してひとまとめにして最後はやっぱり股間から脳天までぶっ刺すのが定番よね
How fucking violent you are. Steel rains down behind me. She's treating this like it's some sort of game. Her palings are practically nipping at my heels. If I slow down even slightly, she'll impale me immediately. As long as I'm carrying Senpai, all I can do is run away. And even if I do, she'll eventually catch up to me and run me through. If I want to survive, then I have no choice but to leave Senpai behind. That vampire wants to witness me make that choice, so she purposely let me run away and is toying with me as she slowly drives me into a corner. But it doesn't matter. None of that matters right now. There's so much rage swirling around my head that I don't know what I might do. I knew nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. I knew nothing about the girl who went through hell and back. I knew nothing about the girl who created that hell, and was then dragged back to reality.
クソクソクソ。
I vent my anger as I run. I thought that I was the only victim. I didn't even realize what she meant on the few occasions she did speak about her past. About the life she'd had after turning into Roa. I didn't even stop to think about what that was like for her.
昔、私はこの体になるきっかけで罪を犯しました。多くの間違いを犯して、多くの人命を見殺しにした。その後、私に課せられたのは、犠牲になった人々の数と同じだけの処罰でした。
What a sick fucking joke. How nightmarish must that have been? Just like me, her will remained intact as she was forced to watch all the atrocities Roa committed, all the way up until she was killed alongside him by Arcueid. But then, just as she finally thought it was over, it turned out there was a second act.
教会の人たちは異端者であるその子を何度も何度も殺すんですけど、どうやっても。
They killed her as many times as she killed others. Even though she was still alive, even though she was still human, they treated her as nothing more than an undying specimen to be experimented on. But despite all that penitence, all that pain, she still can't.
でも、そんなのは違うんです。私は全然強くない。単に死なない体だから、体が強いから罰に耐えられただけ。普通の体だったなら、きっと一日で投げ出していたんです。
She still can't forgive herself.
ふざけやがって。
She wants to die as a human, does she? Is that so she can finally forget everything and be at peace? Of course not. Even that salvation is denied to her. To her, it's simply a duty she absolutely must fulfill. She believes there's only one way she can atone for her sins, by killing Roa, laying the souls of his victims to rest, and allowing herself to be judged in death. I don't have it. As I thought, I don't have that kind of strength, senpai. All I have is my uncontrollable anger. Anger at myself for not realizing the weight of the burden she carries on her shoulders. But...
まだそんな体力が残っていたんだ。四季君一人ならとっくに地上に逃げられたのにね。一体いつまでそんなガラクタを背負ってるつもり？
It may be selfish, but right now, I'm glad that things turned out like this. I'm glad that you decided to spare me. I'm honestly so glad that I didn't have to leave you alone, even if it meant letting Roa live for the moment. I leap as far as my legs will carry me, and hide among the crumbling ruins of the building. She isn't coming after me. I knew it. She's still really inexperienced. Right now, she's only skilled enough to perceive things that make noise, things that move. I finally found somewhere suitable. I should be able to hide her here. I lay Senpai down at the edge of the building. She's sleeping with her eyes open. She may look dead to the casual observer, but she's definitely still alive. Because of her undying body, she's already suffered so much. And that's why there's no way she's going to lose now. Not to something as pathetic as that vampire's mystic eyes. She's going to wake up and come back to me any minute now. I just know it. That's why, until she does, I need to buy her some time. I embrace Senpai's motionless body, calling her name as I stroke her blue hair. I try as best I can to put everything I'm feeling right now into words. Our embrace only lasts 10 seconds, but it's enough for us to feel each other's warmth. I move away from Senpai. With this, I've done all I wanted to do. Now, all that remains is what I must do. I take a deep breath and leap out into the exposed heart of the pit. Oh, now Ciel can't be a distraction, so now we can fight for real.